Abraham, you might know, is the father of the great faiths on the earth presently. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity all point their faith back to Abraham. We don't all agree. The gospel that started with Abraham is not clear to us all, but it all points back to Abraham. Even the offshoots of all three of those somehow get their start with this man Abraham. We're going to look at Abraham because within the Christian faith, Abraham is also a very important figure to the believer in Christ. In Abraham, what we're going to get is a fundamental picture of Christianity, fundamental understanding of the gospel. It's so central to our understanding of where we stand even in Christ. I want to give you sort of an outline of what I think the writer of Genesis gives us in reference to Abraham. I want us to keep it historical. I don't want to try to make this story of Abraham personal because it's bigger than any person. You know, I don't want to try to apply Abraham's life and maybe his struggles and his conflicts to the struggles and conflicts that you and I have. That's a trite use of the story of Abraham. He's just so much bigger and so much more fundamental than that. I've got a lot to cover, so I want to give you a broad outline of what I think becomes the significance that comes out of the story of Abraham in chapters 12 through 22. Are y'all with me? Chapter 12 through 22. Here's what you're going to see. You're going to see the promise, and the promise is huge. In fact, the Apostle Paul will use the word promise of God over and over again in his presentation of the gospel. So what you're going to see is the first occurrences of the promise of God. And then you're going to see that righteousness comes from faith in the promise of God. Y'all can probably already hear the gospel in it, right? Righteousness comes from faith in the promise of God. And then you're going to see, watch this is going to become important. This is where the faith loses a lot of people who call themselves Christians. You're going to see that the righteousness that comes from faith in the promise will narrow to the elect of God. And then you're going to see that the faith of those who have been elect has to be proven. It has to be tested to see whether or not it's authentic faith.